Squarespace finally launched an official feature that allows us to host and sell courses and memberships. This feature is packed with sought-after functionalities, such as product bundling, progress tracking, and secured video hosting. In this video, I'd like to walk you through the highlights of this new courses and memberships feature, share some key considerations, and share how it compares with other learning management software. Before the launch of Squarespace Courses, Squarespace has another way of creating paywalled or gated content, and it is by using member areas. Using member areas, we had to do a lot of workarounds to host courses within Squarespace. But here are some key limitations which prevented me from migrating my own courses to Squarespace. First is that we were limited to 10 member areas only. That means if you are a course creator with more than 10 courses, may it be a mini course or a huge flagship course, then Squarespace used to be not a viable option for you. Second, there was no course progress indicator. That means a student cannot keep track of the lessons that they have already completed. Third, there was no high-level video protection. That means those who are knowledgeable in grabbing the embed code of a video can actually grab that link and open it anywhere or download the video altogether. This limitation is not unique to Squarespace though, because if you're simply hosting your videos on YouTube, even though it's unlisted, or if you're using loom.com or the basic version of Vimeo, that means your videos are actually not highly protected. But if you're using learning management systems such as Teachable, Kajabi, that means if you upload your videos through their video storage, your videos are highly protected. This high level of video protection is also present in higher plans of Vimeo. And then another limitation of Squarespace member areas is that there was no way for us to create bundles. So for example, if you have 3 courses and you would like to sell them as a bundle, that was not possible. Now the great news is, with the launch of the new Squarespace courses, these main limitations have been addressed. Now we can host and sell unlimited courses or gated content. Second, we have a built-in course progress indicator and side navigation. Third, the videos uploaded to Squarespace now have a high level of protection that's at par with the protection of videos in other learning management systems. And now we can sell bundles and offer our courses in multiple pricing plans. There are still known limitations though, which I'll discuss in a while, but these improvements now make Squarespace a viable course platform option. There are a lot of features which other course platforms offer that are not yet available in Squarespace. But then I'd say there are aspects in Squarespace which makes it superior over other course platforms, and which is why I am actually migrating all my courses to Squarespace. Just imagine combining these powerful course features with the ease, simplicity, and beauty that naturally comes with every Squarespace website. We may even apply simple code snippets to customize each course experience. We won't be able to easily add these content-rich, beautiful, and branded layouts using any other course platform, even if we pay $400 monthly. Mind you, I've been running my education business for years now, and I've tried almost all course platforms. So I've weighed all the pros and cons and decided that I'll switch to Squarespace Courses, and I'll get to the details in a while. For now, let me show how easy it is to add courses to your existing site. So if you are on a business plan or above, then when you click this plus icon, whether in the linked or not linked section of your navigation, this new course collection should show up. Clicking this collection option will prompt us to choose from any of these pre-made layouts. You can choose any. This will automatically generate a course collection page at the top of your not linked section. And note that this icon is an open book, so we can proceed with naming our course. I'll name it My Course. When we click this collection page, we'll see 3 menu items: pricing plans, course overview, and course content. For now, let's look into course content. This is where we add the content of our course or organize them into chapters or units. If we click on any of the lessons, we'll find that the editing experience is quite similar to portfolio items. That's because we can easily add any section, may it be a fluid section, gallery section, or list section. And we have a lot of design freedom on what content we can add to each lesson. And I actually believe this ability to easily add content and beautifully lay them out on each lesson is what sets Squarespace apart from other platforms. I can even save a section from another page on my site and easily pull them to be added to any of the lessons of this course. And I'm telling you, after trying almost all course platforms, creating something like this in popular learning management systems is close to impossible, even if you pay $400 per month. And because Squarespace acknowledges the fact that not all lessons may be video-based, if we go and edit the video at the top of this lesson, there is an option to toggle it off. If you choose to show the lesson video, you may upload it directly to Squarespace, and as I mentioned, that has high level of asset protection. If you are hosting your video elsewhere, for example Vimeo, then you can just simply add the link from here and it will automatically pull the video. But make sure that you have the correct settings in Vimeo to make sure that the video is protected. Alternatively, you may also hide this lesson video and just add a section. Within the video block, you can easily pull the Vimeo or YouTube video. While the student is viewing the lesson, they can also access this pull-out menu, and this is how they can navigate to other lessons of the course. From the side navigation, they can also click this progress circle and it'll automatically adjust their progress indicator for this course. The students may also click the complete and continue button at the bottom or top of the lesson and the progress percentage will be updated too. To add our own course content, we start by deleting the placeholder content that was automatically generated. We can do so by clicking this ellipsis and clicking this delete option. Note that when we delete the entire chapter, all the lessons under it will also be deleted, and this cannot be undone, and we don't have a backup of these, so we have to be careful. But because these are just placeholder content, we can proceed with deleting them all. When we click this add content option, we have the option to either add a chapter or add a lesson. Note that we can definitely have a course without a chapter. So if you have a short course only, then you can definitely just use lessons. But if you'd like to organize your content into chapters or units, then you can use this chapter similarly to how we will use a folder to organize our content. Simply drag the lesson to the applicable chapter, and then we'll notice that the status of the lesson is still on draft. It won't show up on our course until we click Edit Lesson and set the status to Published. We'll notice that we also have the option to set the status to Scheduled. This is applicable if you'd like to drip content based on dates. When we click the lesson item and click edit at the top left of our screen, we now have the option to add any sort of sections applicable for this lesson. You may add more resources or more information, or highlight some key resources that were indicated or mentioned on the video. And then under edit layout, we have styling options right here. We can also change the placement of our course navigation. At the moment, the sidebar is aligned to the right, but we also have the option to align it to the left. Note that we may add up to 250 lessons per course, and I personally think that's more than enough. And then whatever lessons or chapters we add to the course content will be automatically reflected on the course overview. So notice on this section, the new chapter and lesson that I added are reflected. This course overview page may also house as many sections as you need, but of course, what we'd like to highlight are the course chapters and lessons, because in some courses, you might want to send the students to this page such that they would have a better idea of the syllabus and the topics included in the course. In this course overview section, when we click edit layout, we have the option to show or hide content and change the colors as well as change some of the designs. I recommend that you take time in exploring how changing these settings will affect this section. But for the rest of the page, we can simply add sections the way that we will do in other pages. This course collection that we just created will have a dedicated URL. So if you click this gear setting, we'll find that our custom URL is my-course. You may change it as needed. And because we haven't added any pricing plan, this course collection will be available by visiting this URL. So in my case, that's squarestylist.com/my-course. However, if you'd like your course content to be gated, that means you will require the user to sign in with their account before they're able to access the course content. That's the time we will configure the pricing plans. To create a pricing plan, we simply click this button and there will be an option for us to add a name, description, and benefits. Personally, I don't use this, but of course, I just plug in the correct information. But when I am adding it to the sales page, I don't show these information. What I show are the pricing, of course, and the applicable products included. So we may offer the course in multiple pricing plans. It can be a fixed amount. It can also be split into payments. It can also be accessed through a subscription, or it can be a free course. For example, we may sell this course for $1,000 single payment, or add an option to purchase it in a more accessible pricing plan that's for payments of $250. This is a preview of how these single payment and split payment options will show up on the homepage, but I personally don't find this toggles intuitive. What I typically do is have a specific button for each pricing plan. So in this course of mine, Standout Squarespace Foundations, I have this pricing plan section. I have this for payments of $250. Then I have this option to pay in full at $997. Then I have a packaged option. This is more of a bundle of my foundations lessons and my advanced lessons. So I'd like to demonstrate how I would set it up in Squarespace Courses. For clarity, I'll name this course as Foundations, and then what I'll do is I'll have this pricing plan to refer to my $997 single payment option. Under included products, within this pricing plan, I can bundle another course, member area, or video collection here, such that when a user avails of this pricing option, not only will they have access to the main course, they may also have access to a bonus course. So for example, I'd like to add this, the Art of Coding in Squarespace, as a bonus course. When I hit save, we'll find that we now have our first pricing plan. Now we can actually add up to 500 pricing plans per website. So for this course, I actually need another pricing option, which is the split payment for payments of $250. So I'll create a new pricing plan. It will still be the Foundations course. And I will change this to a fixed amount still, but the payment is up to 4 payments, and that will be $250 for 4 months. For this pricing plan, I can add another bonus course, or I can just make that exclusive to those who pay in full. Notice though we have an error right here because we have the same name for the pricing tier. So I should name this differently. This should be Foundations Split Payment. Referring back to the pricing plans in my site, notice we already have this payment plan option. We already have the pay in full option. Our last pricing plan should be where I can bundle it with the advanced part of my Standout Squarespace program, and that's at $2,797. So I'll create a new pricing plan. This time, I will mention that this is the full tier, and this is also one-time payment, but the price is at $2,797. But aside from getting all that's included in the Foundations lesson, we also have the bonus lesson about the art of coding in Squarespace, and I have another course that's included in this pricing plan, which is the advanced lesson of my Standout Squarespace program. So for this one, I'll hit create, and now we have all the pricing plans that we need to populate on our sales page. Now, how will we make these pricing plans available on our sales page? If you visit my sales page for standoutsquare.space/foundations, you'll find that these buttons lead to another checkout page, and that's Thrivecart. And then my course currently is hosted in Teachable. And again, I'm yet to migrate to Squarespace Courses, and this is how I will go about that. First, I'll access my saved section such that I can demonstrate it. And then I'll replace this button that is currently leading to Thrivecart. I will remove this and we'll replace it with a digital product block. So to add a digital product block, we search for digital product. I'm using a classic section here, but you may also use a fluid section. Upon adding the digital product block, we'll be asked to choose the pricing plan from those that we've created. So what I've created are these pricing plans. So this is for the payment plan, so $250 for 4 months. So that should be the Foundations split payment. And then under design, notice how we have the option to toggle all these details. So for this, because I've already added the details using text blocks, I'll simply toggle off all these details except for the button. And I'll just make sure that this button will reflect my desired text, which is level up today. And then I'll center align it. I'll do the same for the rest of this pricing plans. Notice that for this pay in full, I'll again add a digital product block. And this time I need to select Foundations full payment, which is at $997. Again, this has to tally, and I can toggle off all these details and just make sure that this is centered aligned. And again, we may customize the text as needed. Now, how will this look like on the student's end? So if they visit the sales page of a course, they can sign up by clicking this digital product block button, and notice how they will be prompted to create an account first or sign in to their account, because the student might have purchased another course before and they might just need to sign in to their prior account. After the user signs in or creates an account, they will be led to this checkout page, and this is where they can make the purchase. Then after a successful purchase, the user will receive an email based on the settings that you have under Customer Notifications Digital Products. In the order confirmation screen, they will be also prompted to view the product. This account pop-out menu will show up, and when they click Digital Products, they can view the courses that are included in their purchase. This is also where they can update their address, their profile, as well as access other purchases within the site. That's how straightforward the process is from creating to selling courses on Squarespace. But before you get started, I'd like for us to consider the following. First is the product type. Since the launch of courses, there are now two main categories of products that you can sell on Squarespace. One is what I call the store products. And these are products that allow multiple items to be added to cart. This includes physical products, services, gift cards, and downloadables. Now, there's a lot of confusion around digital products and digital downloads. At the moment, downloads are part of store products. This is a product type where we can have the user automatically download an ebook, PDF template, or audio file, and they can add multiple downloadables in their cart and check out all of them at once. So for example, if you're selling PDF templates, essentially you may also host those PDF templates inside courses. However, we have to assess what you would like the customer experience to be. Do you think it would be best if they can purchase multiple PDF templates in one checkout? Or would it be best if the checkout experience is focused on one PDF template only? Because for digital products, customers cannot purchase multiple courses or multiple digital products in one checkout because each pricing plan has a dedicated checkout page. Under the digital products category, we've already discussed courses. However, there are also member sites and video collections. If you remember, when we created a pricing plan and created a bundle, we can actually add member sites and video collections within that bundle too. Member sites and video collections are other ways by which we can gate content in Squarespace. So courses are more structured in terms of layout, but then member sites are like folders wherein you can house any collection type or page within it. So for example, I can create a membership right here. And within that membership, we can also have the members pay a fixed amount, a subscription, or we can also make that membership free to access, but then the users would still need to log in to access the content. Within this membership folder, we may add any page or collection. That means if you have a particular shop that you only want to be available to members, for example, they are wholesale members or VIP members, then you can place that particular shop to that membership such that only those logged in customers can access the store. We may also add courses to this member site. However, as soon as we add our course to the member site, then its existing pricing plans will be removed because the pricing plan of the member site will be prioritized. On the other hand, video collections is more of a video library, perfect for programs that are video-based and programs that do not necessarily enforce the lesson order, for example, fitness programs or crafting lessons. So even if courses are great, depending on the requirements, we may also consider other product types. We also consider the website plan. As I mentioned, Squarespace makes it easy for everyone to get started with selling courses or digital products. Hence, if the website is subscribed to at least the business plan, then you can create and sell courses on Squarespace. However, there is a 9% transaction fee, and this is on top of the payment processor fees. Also, the video storage is up to 30 minutes only. I know this is quite limiting, but this is actually just designed to help people get started with selling courses. Of course, if you're just starting out, it's totally fine not to avail of the video storage that comes with Squarespace. You may host the video on other platforms like unlisted YouTube video or Vimeo, and then embed that on Squarespace, such that your course won't be just limited to 30 minutes. But I understand the 9% transaction fee can be quite significant. Hence, after testing the waters and you think selling courses is for you, you want to scale, then it would be best to consider the digital product add-on. So this is a subscription added to your current website plans. If we avail of these add-ons, then we're able to increase the video storage and we're able to decrease the transaction fees. To summarize these plan options, if you're just on a typical website plan, either business or commerce, then you don't have an add-on fee. There is a 9% transaction fee for every digital product sold, and the video storage is limited to 30 minutes. But if you'd like to extend this video storage and to reduce the transaction fee, then we may consider subscribing to the digital product add-on. These are the add-on fees per month if paid annually. This will increase if the subscription is paid monthly. For example, the Pro add-on will be $149. And I know these are not cheap prices, but for course creators with significant volume of sales, it actually makes sense to invest in a tier with 0% transaction fees. Hence, the Pro plan actually makes sense to course creators who would like to scale. Now, obviously, this is a significant investment, but if you look at it in comparison with other course platforms, I'd say this pricing is actually quite reasonable. For example, Kajabi has this pricing plan. Notice how Kajabi puts premium on removing the Kajabi branding as well as adding custom code. And there's also a limit to number of active customers. Of course, there are a lot of features that Kajabi has and that Squarespace doesn't have just yet. But not all education businesses need all of those features, so it depends on which features you wish to prioritize. On the other hand, this is how the pricing of Teachable looks like. I personally am using the Pro plan of Teachable at the moment, but as I mentioned, I'm planning to move everything over to Squarespace. I am also not using the payment gateway of Teachable because I found it unreliable, so I'm actually using Thrivecart as my payment gateway. Right now, there is a maximum of 50 published products only on Teachable, which might be limiting to some course creators. So if you'd like to have more than 50 courses, up to 200, then you might need to consider the Pro plan. Another big player is Thinkific, and I think the most comparable plan with Squarespace is their Grow plan, because this is the only plan wherein we can remove the Thinkific branding. Kajabi and Thinkific actually have the option to add communities. I personally host my community on another platform because I found that the communities integrated with these course platforms are not at par with the quality of communities that I'd like to build. Here's a summary comparing the plans of the course platforms which I mentioned. And herein, I just would like to demonstrate how reasonable Squarespace's pricing option is. But there are other more affordable course platforms such as Podia, Thrivecart, Learn Plus, as well as Teachery. Of course, you may consider those, but I think these are the main big players in the course industry. At the time of this recording, these are the main aspects where Squarespace courses lack features in. First is in quizzes and certifications. The Squarespace team mentioned though that this quizzes feature is in the pipeline. Then Squarespace doesn't have an integrated community. You'll find that other platforms such as Kajabi highlights its community feature, but I also know a lot of course creators who have access to Kajabi, but then they still prefer hosting their communities in Facebook, Discord, or in my case, I prefer hosting mine in Circle. Squarespace doesn't have yet an option to enroll students in bulk, and this is typically helpful if we're migrating from one platform to the other or manually importing a group of students. However, there is a workaround here which I can tackle in a separate video. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in learning more about how to migrate from one course platform to another, even if Squarespace doesn't have a bulk enrollment feature just yet. In terms of payment processor, Squarespace supports Stripe and PayPal as processors, but I understand that in other countries, these payment processors are not supported. Also, at the moment, Squarespace doesn't have a native affiliate program or an option to offer order bumps or upsells. Other platforms also have specialized features for coaching products, which Squarespace doesn't have at the moment. And they also have advanced analytics. For example, right now in Squarespace, the user has an idea of their course progress via the progress bar. But as course creators, we don't have access to that data. To most course creators that I know, the advanced analytics isn't necessarily a deal breaker. But this last aspect, which is automations, is quite an essential one. And as a course creator myself, this is an aspect where I really want Squarespace to focus on. In courses, we typically use automations to send a series of emails depending on the course that a student purchased. We also use it to list all students in Airtable or Google Sheet, and we also use it to automatically add students to a certain community. Currently, Squarespace's automations is quite limited. We have an option to send a series of emails using their own Squarespace email campaigns. But of course, we're not expecting all course creators to use Squarespace email campaigns. It's also quite limited at the moment, but this is an option that we have. Another option is to use ConvertKit because it has a direct integration as well to Squarespace's orders. And there are other workarounds which I can tackle in another video. While there are no limitations, there are also aspects where Squarespace Course is incredibly great at. So here are some standout features which I think Squarespace Courses does better than any other platform. First is that we have a delightful editing experience. No other course platform comes close in this regard, and it allows us to create comprehensive and context-rich lessons that delight our customers or students. And in Squarespace, we're able to create beautifully branded courses, especially if you add coded features. There's a lot more possibilities. For example, you can have different styles per course if we add custom CSS. And of course, it's just easy if we can manage different aspects of our business in one place. Obviously, there's no perfect platform for all use cases. Each platform has its advantages and disadvantages. It really boils down to your requirements or what matters to you and your business. Do you value delightful editing experience and branded experiences, or do you value affiliate programs and bulk enrollments more? In my case, I really value design, so I'm willing to do some workarounds for my automations just so I can take advantage of the beautifully branded and content-rich experience that's now possible using Squarespace Courses. I hope this walkthrough of Squarespace Courses has been helpful. I know that you might have some more questions. For example, how do we migrate from another platform to Squarespace Courses? Or how can we use another payment processor? Or how can we configure advanced automations, knowing that Squarespace's automations right now is quite limited? Now I have a good news for you, because I actually devised workarounds to address these requirements. And I'd love to hear via the comments below which topic you'd like me to tackle in the next video. I also would like to mention that I might not be able to respond to all comments. If you have a certain use case and you wish to learn more about how you can approach a certain project, that's not something that I can attend to, but I do provide personalized coaching and support within my own program, Standout Squarespace. So if you'd like to receive personalized support from me, then you can check out Standout Squarespace.